The sleek, silver vessel of the Galactic Confederation's exploratory corps hung silently in Earth's orbit, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it invisible to human detection systems. On board, Senior Scout Zixtal stared at the blue-green planet below, mandibles clicking in agitation as he processed the preliminary data. "This cannot be correct," Zixtal muttered, his compound eyes darting between multiple holographic displays. "Run the analysis again." V8. The ship's AI complied silently, and within moments, the results appeared once more, unchanged. Zixtal's antennae twitched nervously. In his centuries of exploration, he had never encountered anything like this. The Galactic Confederation, a collection of over 200 spacefaring species, had long ago concluded that advanced civilizations naturally trended towards demilitarization and unification. It was an accepted truth, an evolutionary constant. But Earth, designation Sol 3, defied all expectations. The planet was fragmented into hundreds of nation-states, many armed to the teeth. One nation in particular stood out, the United States of America. Its military capabilities alone rivaled those of entire sectors of Confederation space. "Impossible," Zixtal whispered, mandibles trembling. "How can they maintain such a force and still prosper?" The data showed thriving economies, technological innovation, and standards of living that matched or exceeded many Confederation worlds. It contradicted everything Zixtal thought he knew about societal evolution. Steeling himself, Zixtal initiated a transmission to Galactic Central. This discovery would shake the very foundations of Confederation philosophy. Grand Arbiter Lornax of the Galactic Confederation leaned back in his hover chair, his tentacles writhing in agitation as he addressed the hastily assembled High Council. "Esteemed colleagues," he began, his voice a melodious hum, "we face an unprecedented situation. Scout Zixtal's report on Sol 3, or Earth, as the natives call it, presents us with a civilization that defies our understanding of galactic development." Holographic displays flickered to life around the circular chamber, showcasing images and data from Earth. The counselors murmured and clicked in a cacophony of alien languages as they absorbed the information. "As you can see," Lornax continued, "this Earth possesses a level of military might that we haven't encountered in millennia. Their planet remains divided, yet they've achieved technological and economic prosperity that rivals our own." Counselor Drev, a crystalline being from the Rigel system, chimed in. "This is absurd. How can a fragmented species maintain such power without destroying themselves?" "That," Lornax replied, "is the question that has thrown our societal models into chaos. But there's more." The display shifted, focusing on the nation known as the United States of America. This single nation possesses a military force capable of challenging entire sectors of our space. Their naval and air capabilities are, frankly, terrifying. The council chamber erupted into alarmed chatter. Lornax raised a tentacle for silence. "We must decide how to proceed. Our standard protocols for emerging civilizations clearly do not apply here. These humans represent a potential threat unlike any we faced before." Counselor Elia, a gaseous entity contained within an ornate suit, spoke up. "We must prevent their expansion into space at all costs. Imagine if they were to spread their ideology of militarization." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. "Perhaps," interjected Counselor Jor, an avian being with iridescent feathers, "we are approaching this wrong. Their achievements are undeniable. We could learn from them, integrate their strengths into our own civilization." This suggestion was met with scoffs and dismissive gestures from many counselors. Lornax raised his tentacles, calling for order. "Both perspectives have merit. We cannot ignore the potential threat, but neither can we dismiss the opportunities this discovery presents." He paused, his bioluminescent skin pulsing with thought. "We will establish a containment protocol. No direct contact will be made. We'll restrict the sale of faster-than-light technology to Earth and closely monitor all interactions. Meanwhile, we'll send undercover observers to learn more about their society." The council muttered in general agreement, though undercurrents of unease remained. As the session concluded, Lornax couldn't shake a feeling of foreboding. Humanity's existence challenged everything the Confederation thought it knew about civilizational development. And if there was one thing the Grand Arbiter had learned in his long life, it was that the unknown always carried both great danger and great opportunity. Little did Lornax know that humanity's influence was already beginning to spread, carried on whispered rumors of freedom and opportunity that would soon ignite a spark across the galaxy. As the Galactic Confederation grappled with the implications of Earth's discovery, humanity remained blissfully unaware of the cosmic spotlight now focused upon them. The stage was set for a clash of ideologies that would reshape the very fabric of galactic society. In the darkness of space, watching Earth's gleaming cities and bustling spaceports, Scout Zixtol couldn't help but wonder, what would happen when these Americans, these humans, finally reached for the stars in earnest? The answer, he suspected, would change everything. Containment efforts. Admiral Alessandra Chen of the United Earth Space Force, UESF, stood at the viewport of the UES Horizon, Earth's most advanced exploration vessel. The stars streaked by in ribbons of light as the ship cruised at faster-than-light speeds, a testament to humanity's newest technological marvel. Status report, XO, Chen ordered, her eyes fixed on the vast expanse before her. Commander Rahul Patel approached, tablet in hand. All systems nominal. Admiral, we're on course to rendezvous with the Proxima Centauri colony in 6 hours. Chen nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. Humanity's first extrasolar colony, established just 2 years ago, was thriving. It was a proud moment, but one tinged with an inexplicable sense of unease. Any unusual readings? She asked, trying to keep her tone casual. Patel hesitated. Well, there is one thing. Our long-range sensors have been picking up some anomalies, moments of distortion that don't match any known phenomena. Chen's eyes narrowed. This wasn't the first time she'd heard such reports. Show me. As Patel pulled up the data, neither of them noticed the shimmer of a cloaked ship observing them from a distance. On board the Confederation stealth vessel Whisper, observer Nix watched the human ship with growing concern. They're progressing faster than we anticipated, Nix reported to the holographic image of Grand Arbiter Lornax. Their FTL technology is crude by our standards, but they're refining it at an alarming rate. Lornax's tentacles writhed in agitation. This is troubling news, observer. Our containment efforts are clearly insufficient. There's more, Nix continued. We've detected signs that they're beginning to notice our presence. Their sensors are becoming more sophisticated. The Grand Arbiter fell silent for a moment, his bioluminescent skin pulsing with thought. We must accelerate our plans, intensify our efforts to disrupt their supply chains, and initiate Protocol Omega. Nix's compound eyes widened. Are you certain? That's a drastic step. We have no choice, Lornax replied gravely. The humans must be contained for the good of the galaxy. As the transmission ended, Nix felt a twinge of unease. Protocol Omega involved direct sabotage, a significant escalation from their previous passive observation and subtle interference. Back on Earth, in the underground bunker of UESF headquarters, General Marcus Donovan pored over reports from across human space. Something wasn't adding up. Colonel Hayes, he called out, bring up the incident reports from the last 6 months. A holographic display flickered to life, showing a map of human-controlled space dotted with red markers. There's a pattern here, Donovan mused, his weathered face creased in concentration. These accidents and malfunctions, they're too convenient, too focused on key infrastructure and supply lines. Colonel Samantha Hayes nodded grimly. You think we're under attack, sir? I think, Donovan replied slowly, that we're not alone out here, and someone doesn't want us expanding further into space. Just then, an alert blared through the command center. Hayes rushed to a console, her face paling as she read the incoming transmission. "Sir, we've lost contact with the Proxima Centauri colony. The UES Horizon reports massive electromagnetic interference in the system." Donovan's jaw clenched. "It started," he muttered. "Sound General Quarters. I need to speak with the President immediately." As alarms blared and personnel rushed to battle stations, a new era in human history was dawning, one where humanity would have to fight for its place among the stars. In the depths of space, aboard the Confederation flagship Celestial Guardian, a covert meeting was taking place. Representatives from various alien races had gathered, united in their concern over the human situation. "The containment is failing," hissed Surik, a serpentine being from the Hydra cluster. "These humans, they adapt too quickly, push too hard. We must take more decisive action." Counselor Jor, the avian being who had earlier advocated for learning from humanity, ruffled his feathers in agitation. "And risk open war. We've seen their military capabilities. A direct conflict could devastate half the galaxy." "Perhaps," interjected a new voice, "there is another way." All eyes turned to the speaker, a tall, ethereal being known as Ilara, representative of the enigmatic Lumina Collective. The Lumina were known for their neutrality and wisdom, rarely involving themselves in Confederation politics. "We've observed the humans in secret," Ilara continued, her voice melodious yet filled with gravity. "Their society is built on principles of freedom and self-determination. These values resonate with many across the galaxy, even among your own populations." A murmur rippled through the gathering. It was an uncomfortable truth many had been avoiding. Instead of containment, Ilara proposed, we should consider engagement, controlled, careful, but direct. We may find that humanity has more to offer the galaxy than we've assumed. The room erupted into heated debate. Some, like Surik, advocated for stricter measures. Others, swayed by Ilara's words, began to consider the possibilities of cooperation. As the arguments raged, none noticed the small drone hovering in a shadowy corner of the room, a human-made device that had hitched a ride on an unsuspecting alien vessel. Back on Earth, in a top-secret facility, intelligence officers listened intently to the translated alien deliberations, realizing for the first time the true scale of the cosmic community they were on the brink of joining, whether they were welcome or not. The containment of humanity was failing, not through force of arms, but through the power of ideas. As news of Earth and its freedoms spread in whispers across the galaxy, a tide was rising that would reshape the cosmic order. The next moves made by both humanity and the Galactic Confederation would determine the fate of countless worlds. In the vastness of space, the stage was set for a confrontation that would echo across the stars. The Great Migration. The dingy corridors of Space Station Omega-9, a remote outpost on the fringes of Confederation space, buzzed with an unusual energy. Beings of various species huddled in corners, speaking in hushed tones. Eyes darted nervously, watching for any sign of official presence. In one shadowy alcove, a hooded figure addressed a small, diverse group. "The humans offer freedom," the figure whispered, voice filled with hope and desperation. "No castes, no enforced roles. A chance to choose our own destinies." A tentacled being shifted nervously. "But how can we reach them?" "The Confederation patrols." "There are ways," the hooded figure assured. "Ships leave tonight. Spread the word, but cautiously. Freedom awaits on Earth." As the group dispersed, none noticed the small spherical drone hovering silently in a dark corner, its sensors recording everything. Admiral Chen paced the bridge of the UES Horizon, now transformed into a mobile command center at the edge of human space. Holographic displays showed a staggering sight. Hundreds of alien vessels of various sizes and designs, approaching human territory. "Status report," Chen barked, her voice tense. Commander Paddle responded quickly. "They're not responding to hails, Admiral. But they're not showing any signs of aggression either. Many appear to be civilian craft, some in poor condition. Chen's brow furrowed. This was unprecedented. Any signs of Confederation military vessels? Negative, Admiral. But we're detecting numerous small skirmishes at the edge of our sensor range. It's as if they're running from something. Before Chen could respond, a new alert blared. A young ensign called out, "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission. It's being broadcast on all frequencies, in multiple languages, including Earth Standard." "On screen," Chen ordered. The main view screen flickered to life, showing a diverse group of alien beings. Their spokesperson, a tall, willowy creature with iridescent skin, began to speak. "People of Earth, we come seeking refuge. We have heard of your world, of your ideals of freedom and self-determination. Our own societies offer us no such choices. We ask for sanctuary, for a chance to live as you do. We bring knowledge, skills, and the willingness to work alongside you. Please, do not turn us away." The message repeated in various alien languages. Chen stood in stunned silence, the implications of this moment washing over her. Humanity, still grappling with its own place in the cosmos, was suddenly faced with a monumental decision. "Get me Earth Command," she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. "And the President. They need to see this now." In the opulent chambers of the Galactic Confederation's central world, pandemonium reigned. Counselors from hundreds of species argued vehemently, their voices rising in a cacophony of alien languages. Grand Arbiter Lornak struggled to maintain order. "Please, esteemed colleagues, we must approach this crisis rationally." Counselor Sirik's voice cut through the din. "Rationally, millions are fleeing towards human space, our own people, abandoning centuries of order and stability for what? Some human notion of freedom. Perhaps," interjected Counselor Jor, "we should be asking why they flee, rather than how to stop them." The debate raged on, but a subtle shift was occurring. More voices were beginning to question the long-held beliefs of the Confederation. The ideals that had seemed immutable for millennia were suddenly under scrutiny. In a quiet corner, Observer Nix conferred quietly with Ilara of the Lumina Collective. "This is more than we anticipated," Nix admitted. "The spread of human ideals. It's like a wildfire." Ilara's luminous eyes seemed to peer into the future. "Change was inevitable," she said softly. "The question now is whether it will come through understanding or conflict." Back on Earth, in the Oval Office, President Kira Espinosa stood before a bank of screens, each showing leaders from various nations. The atmosphere was tense, filled with a mix of excitement, fear, and uncertainty. "We stand at a crossroads," Espinosa began, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "What we decide here will shape not just the future of humanity, but potentially that of countless other species." She paused, looking at each leader in turn. "We have always wondered if we were alone in the universe. Now we know we are not. And more than that, we find that our values, our beliefs in freedom and self-determination, resonate across the stars." Murmurs of agreement and concern rippled through the gathered leaders. "I propose," Espinosa continued, "that we open our arms to these refugees. We offer them sanctuary, and in return, we gain allies, knowledge, and a chance to shape a more just galaxy." Debates erupted. Concerns about resources, security, and the potential for conflict with the Confederation were raised. But as discussions continued, a consensus began to form. Humanity, despite its own divisions, was uniting in the face of this cosmic challenge. As the meeting concluded, President Espinosa turned to her Chief of Staff. "Prepare a global address," she said, her voice filled with determination. "And get me Admiral Chen. We have a lot of work to do." Across the galaxy, on countless worlds, beings of all shapes and sizes huddled around communication devices. They listened in secret to broadcasts from Earth, hearts, and minds opening to new possibilities. In hidden shipyards, vessels were being prepared. In quiet meetings, plans were being made. A great migration was underway, one that would reshape the very fabric of galactic society. And at the center of it all was humanity, standing on the precipice of a new era. The Contained had become the catalyst, their ideas spreading faster than any fleet or edict could hope to stop. As millions of alien refugees approached human space, and the Galactic Confederation grappled with the unraveling of its long-held order, one thing became clear: the galaxy would never be the same again. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the future of countless species, and humanity, for better or worse, found itself at the heart of this cosmic revolution. Preparations for conflict. The massive hangar bay of the UEA's Defiant hummed with activity. Engineers and technicians swarmed over sleek spacecraft, integrating newly acquired alien technology with human ingenuity. At the center of this organized chaos stood Dr. Ariajong, Earth's leading genotechnologist. "The phase shift shields are online," she reported to Admiral Chen, who stood nearby, watching the proceedings with a mix of pride and concern. "We've successfully reverse-engineered the Confederation's cloaking technology as well." Chen nodded, her face grim. "Excellent work, Doctor. Let's hope we won't need to use any of it." As if on cue, a young lieutenant approached, tablet in hand. "Admiral, we've received word from the Proxima Centauri colony. The refugee integration is proceeding smoothly, but they've detected increased Confederation activity at the edge of the system." Chen's jaw tightened. "They're probing our defenses. Inform all outposts to remain on high alert." As the lieutenant hurried away, Chen turned back to Dr. Zhang. "How soon can we have the fleet upgraded?" Zhang's eyes gleamed with determination. "Give us a week, Admiral. We'll be ready." Deep in the heart of Confederation space, on a secret military installation, General Vexlor of the Confederation Defense Force observed a holographic display of troop movements. His chitinous exoskeleton gleamed in the low light as he addressed his fellow commanders. "The humans continue to accept refugees," he chittered, mandibles clicking in agitation. "Our intelligence suggests they're rapidly adapting our technology. If we don't act soon, we may lose our tactical advantage." A holographic projection of Grand Arbiter Lornax flickered to life. "We must proceed cautiously, General. Open conflict could be disastrous for all." Vexlor's compound eyes narrowed. "With all due respect, Arbiter, the time for caution has passed. The very foundations of our society are crumbling. We must act decisively." As the military leaders debated strategy, none noticed the small Earth-made drone hovering silently in a shadowy corner, transmitting everything back to UESF headquarters. In Washington, D.C., President Espinosa sat in the Situation Room, surrounded by her top advisors. The atmosphere was tense as they reviewed the latest intelligence. "The Confederation is mobilizing," reported the Secretary of Defense, pointing to a holographic star map dotted with red markers. "They're consolidating their forces along our borders." Espinosa leaned forward, her eyes scanning the display. "And our preparations?" "Admiral Chen reports that fleet upgrades are ahead of schedule," the Secretary replied. "The refugee scientists have been invaluable. We've made leaps in propulsion, shields, and weapons technology." The President nodded, then turned to her diplomatic advisor. "Any progress with the neutral races?" "Some," came the cautious reply. "The Lumina Collective is advocating for peaceful resolution. Several smaller races have expressed support for our cause, but they're hesitant to commit openly." Espinosa stood, pacing the room as she considered their options. "We need to buy more time. Prepare a diplomatic mission to the Confederation. We'll sue for peace, but from a position of strength." As her team sprang into action, Espinosa couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the brink of a conflict that could reshape the galaxy. On the desert world of Hexarax Prime, in a hidden rebel base, leaders from various alien races gathered in secret. Some were former Confederation citizens, others from neutral worlds. All were united in their support for the human cause. Kithal, a towering insectoid being, addressed the assembled group. Our operatives report that the Confederation military is preparing for a major offensive. If they strike at Earth, countless innocent lives, human and refugee alike, will be lost. Murmurs of concern rippled through the gathering. We cannot stand idly by, Folk continued. I propose we form an alliance, a united front to stand with humanity against Confederation aggression. Zara, a lithe, feathered being, spoke up. But how can we hope to stand against the might of the Confederation fleet? A holographic projection flickered to life, showing a masked figure, the leader of an underground resistance movement within Confederation space. We have more allies than you know, the figure said, voice distorted. Should conflict erupt, the Confederation will find enemies not just at their borders, but within their very hearts. As plans were made and alliances forged, a sense of hope began to grow. The galaxy was changing, and these beings, once subjects of an immutable order, were taking an active role in shaping their destiny. Back aboard the UES Defiant, Admiral Chen stood before a gathering of human and alien officers. The ship's conference room buzzed with a mix of languages and translators. We stand at a crossroads, Chen began, her voice carrying the weight of command. Our scouts report Confederation fleets massing at key strategic points. War may be inevitable, but we will not strike first. She gestured to a holographic display of human-controlled space. Our priority is defense. We've established a network of early warning beacons and hidden outposts. If the Confederation attacks, we'll be ready. A Thoraxian officer, his exoskeleton gleaming, raised a clawed appendage. Admiral, many of us fled the Confederation to escape war. Are we merely trading one conflict for another? Chen's gaze softened slightly. We fight not for conquest or control, but for the right to determine our own futures. Every being here made a choice to be free. Now we may have to defend that choice. As the briefing continued, detailing defense strategies and contingency plans, a sense of unity grew among the assembled officers. Human and alien alike, they were bound by a common cause, the defense of their newfound freedom. In the vast emptiness of space, at the edge of human-controlled territory, a lone scout ship drifted silently. Its sensors probed the darkness, watching for any sign of Confederation movement. Aboard, a mixed crew of humans and alien refugees worked in harmony. Their backgrounds were diverse, their species varied, but their purpose was singular: to stand as the first line of defense for their adopted home. As they maintained their vigilant watch, none could shake the feeling that they were living through the calm before the storm. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see whether this clash of ideologies would be resolved through diplomacy or decided in the crucible of war. On countless worlds, in secret meetings and public forums, in the hearts and minds of beings across the cosmos, a question echoed. What would happen when the unstoppable force of human determination met the immovable object of Confederation order? The answer, for better or worse, would soon reveal itself among the stars. Diplomacy or war? The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Confederation's capital world buzzed with tension. Representatives from hundreds of worlds filled the tiered seating, their diverse forms a testament to the vastness of the cosmic community. At the center, on a raised platform, stood President Kira Espinosa of Earth, flanked by a small delegation of human and alien advisors. Grand Arbiter Lornax's voice echoed through the chamber. This emergency session of the Galactic Confederation is now in session. We are here to address the situation regarding Earth and its recent activities. Espinosa stepped forward, her posture confident despite the weight of the moment. Esteemed members of the Confederation, I come before you not as a conqueror or a rebel, but as a representative of a people who seek understanding and cooperation. Murmurs rippled through the alien delegates. Some leaned forward with interest, others recoiled in barely concealed hostility. We understand that our emergence onto the galactic stage has caused upheaval, Espinosa continued. But we believe that the principles we stand for, freedom, self-determination, the right of all sentient beings to choose their own path, are universal values that can benefit all. She gestured to her diverse delegation. Look around you. These beings, once citizens of your own worlds, have found a home with us not through coercion, but through choice. They represent not a theft of your people, but an awakening of the desire for freedom that resides in all sentient beings. Counselor Cirque's voice cut through the air, dripping with venom. Pretty words, human, but your actions speak louder. You've disrupted the balance we've maintained for millennia. Your very existence threatens the stability of the galaxy. Cheers of agreement rose from some sections, while others remained silent, thoughtful. Espinosa stood her ground. Change is inevitable, Counselor. The question is whether we meet it with fear and aggression, or with hope and cooperation. As the debate raged on, tensions in the chamber rose. Arguments broke out among the delegates, ancient alliances straining under the weight of new ideas. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the complex. A frantic aide rushed to Lornax, whispering urgently in his ear. The Grand Arbiter's face paled. Impossible, he muttered before addressing the assembly. We've just received word. A Confederation battle fleet has opened fire on human colonies in the Proxima Centauri system. Chaos erupted in the chamber. Espinosa's eyes widened in shock, then narrowed with determination. She turned to her chief of staff, speaking urgently into a communicator. On view screens around the chamber, images of the attack began to stream in. Confederation warships rained fire upon defenseless colonies, while a hastily assembled human fleet moved to intercept. Lornax's voice boomed over the din. This action was not authorized. Who ordered this attack? From the military section, General Vexlor stood, his chitinous armor gleaming. I did, he declared. The humans leave us no choice. We must strike now, before their infection spreads further. As Vexlor's supporters cheered, others in the chamber recoiled in horror. The lines were being drawn, not just between human and Confederation, but between those who clung to the old order and those who saw the need for change. Espinosa's voice cut through the chaos. This is the moment that defines us, she declared. Not just humanity, but all sentient beings. Do we choose fear and aggression, or hope and unity? She turned to Lornax. Grand Arbiter, the choice is yours. Stand with us against this aggression, or be complicit in the slaughter of innocents. Lornax hesitated, the weight of millennia of tradition warring with the undeniable truth before him. Finally, he straightened, his bioluminescent skin pulsing with resolve. Enough, he declared. General Vexlor, you have acted without authority and against the principles of the Confederation. I hereby order all loyal Confederation forces to stand down immediately. Vexlor snarled. You fool, you'll doom us all. He reached for a weapon, but before he could act, he was restrained by his own subordinates, many of whom looked relieved at Lornax's order. As the chamber watched in stunned silence, Lornax turned to Espinosa. President Espinosa, on behalf of the Galactic Confederation, I extend our deepest apologies for this unprovoked attack. We request your assistance in bringing this conflict to an immediate end. Espinosa nodded solemnly. Of course, Grand Arbiter. Let this be the first step towards a new era of cooperation. As orders were relayed and fleets stood down, a palpable sense of history in the making filled the chamber. The galaxy stood on the brink of a new age, one where the rigid structures of the past gave way to a more dynamic, inclusive future. In the Proxima Centauri system, human and loyal Confederation ships worked side by side to evacuate colonies and treat the wounded. Ancient enemies became allies in the face of a greater challenge, forging a new path forward. Back on Earth, in cities and settlements across human space, people of 1,000 worlds watched their view screens in awe. The news spread like wildfire. War had been averted, and a new chapter in galactic history was beginning. As the dust settled and the work of rebuilding began, one thing became clear. The arrival of humanity onto the galactic stage had irrevocably changed the cosmos. The path forward would not be easy, but it held the promise of a future where the combined strengths of countless cultures and species could reach heights never before imagined. The stars, once a barrier, now beckoned as a frontier of infinite possibility. And at the heart of this new cosmic order stood humanity, not as conquerors, but as catalysts for a grand experiment in freedom and cooperation that would span the galaxy. As President Espinosa and Grand Arbiter Lornax shook hands, or their equivalent appendages, before the assembled representatives of 1,000 worlds, a new era dawned. The age of isolation was over. The age of unity had begun. And somewhere, on a distant world, a child of an unknown species looked up at the night sky and dreamed not of conquest or subjugation, but of exploration, discovery, and the boundless potential of a united galaxy. The cosmic dance continued, but now with a new partner, humanity, whose steps would help choreograph the grand ballet of the stars for eons to come.